Yo, got a patch notes video and a channel update. Channel update will be at the end. Should be pretty straightforward, so let's just focus on the patch. Patch 7.1 will be landing on the 10th of February, bringing out a bunch of bug fixes. Okay, cool. Bunch of campaign stuff. I'm a multiplayer focused channel, so I'm just gonna kind of blow past this, but looks like a lot of crashes were solved. And then, yeah, just more bugs. So a bunch of campaign bugs are fixed, which is great. Cool, neat. AI fixes, but we'll get down to the battle stuff. The stuff I care about as a multiplayer gamer. Okay, so before I get into this, what are the big problems right now? The Dreadmaws are really annoying, insanely tanky, high leadership, and for 1,000 gold, they are a steal. Slaanesh is doing okay in land battles. Domination, I hear they're pretty good. But the mask is pretty strong. I see the mask on here. And then I'm trying to think. People think Tomb Kings are really strong, but nobody can fully nail down what to nerf about them. They're just generally strong if you heard my tier list, but I guess maybe the cats could get nerfed. Looking for Thunder Tusk nerf because I hate the Thunder Tusk. That's about it. Yeah, that's the stuff I would like expect. And Chimeras. Chimeras are fucking broken on every roster. Ooh, and I know the Domination guys are very excited about trying to get Bearmen off the Warriors of Chaos roster. So anyway, those are our criteria for success. Slaanesh gets a T'Challa buff from 2,000 to 1,800 gold value. That's a pretty big buff, and she needs it. The Mask of Slaanesh got 100 gold cost increase, 2 less melee defense, and the Mortis engine lost about 1/6 of its damage. Okay, that's not nothing. You know, those are decent nerfs. I still think the mask will be very good, but I think like the nerf that they did on release and then this nerf probably bring the mask into like just good territory, not like broken OP, why aren't you taking her? Slangors, decent little nerf. Melee defense down, charge bonus down. That's a pretty good nerf. Slangors are strong. They're a very strong unit, but they aren't crazy overpowered in my opinion. So I like that they're taking a soft approach, not just killing the unit outright. I think it's better in domination than conquest, but it's pretty good in both modes. Chimera. Okay, this is the thing we were looking for. Reduced projectile penetration to medium. That is good. That has a larger impact than you'd probably think. Reduce explosion damage with AP only being 41%. Reduce leadership by 5, including the Chimera ROR. Now, it doesn't say the projectile penetration, the explosion damage also include the ROR, but I would imagine it does. I would imagine the way they do it, it would change both. So then for the ROR specifically, I got a 50 gold cost increase, reduce the healing by 0.05%, which is not a lot, still good healing, and change the ability from out of melee to no enemy in range. Now, the way that is written and the way I suspect it works are different, but the way it's written seems like if there's no enemy in range, the spell is available to cast, but then it would like, I got confused in my wording. Anyway, I'm hoping that it is, if there's an enemy within range, the healing stops, even if you already procced it. Like, it only applies when there's no enemy in range. What I think it means is you can click the button when no enemy's in range, but then you can just go right back into melee while still healing. I suspect the second one is true, but I hope the first one is true. Because if that thing actually has to stay outside of combat to heal, then that makes it a lot less OP. Still very strong. Just looking at these Chimera nerfs, they're decent nerfs, but I think, again, it's either going to stay overpowered or it's going to go to the very good category, but it's not going to be a bad unit for sure with these nerfs. It's still going to be very good. So if you're on a roster that has a Chimera, you should probably be bringing it. Druchii Anointed, reduced cost on various mounts, increased physical resistance by 15%. Wow. Okay, and then more Hysterical Frenzy bound spells. Neat. The Praeton is pretty bad. Lost 50 gold, which is good. Unyielding Assault added to Endless Malice. That's okay. And then increased hit ignore chance, so it gets staggered less by 25%. Those are good changes, but I think that doesn't solve the problem with the Praeton. The Praeton is still very expensive, very squishy, but doesn't deal as much damage as it would need to be worthy of how expensive and squishy it is. Like, it deals some damage, but not enough. It's kind of meant to be this like 1v1 duelist thing with all of its anti-large stats, but its weapon strength is pretty abysmal. And this is a larger conversation that I could make a different video about real quick, but like, I was talking to Blood Penguin before we did our tier list about monsters, and I generally wish that monsters were way less tanky, but did way more damage. Like, with collision attacks, now that's a step in the right direction, and I don't think collision attacks need to be changed with the rest of this, but like, when a monster is just standing there and swinging, it does pretty piss poor damage, honestly. And when they take hits, they take a long time to die. Like, the Shredder of Lustria just walking into like 3 Empire Halberdiers, it'll take forever to die, which shouldn't be the case, and maybe I'm just a zoomer, but like, in my mind, if a Dreadsaurian is standing in like a group of spears, it should murder them in like 3 hits. I'm exaggerating to prove a point, bear with me, but it should murder them in like 3 hits. But then also, when it's surrounded by armor-piercing spears, like, I don't think that just the models touching the Dreadsaurian should be swinging. I think like 2 or 3 rows of infantry should be able to like poke at it, and like, it should die very quickly if it runs into a bunch of armor-piercing anti-large infantry all on its own, just because of the amount of attacks it would get off. So then this would lead to like, you have to support your monsters, but if you support them, they'll get a lot of damage out for you very quickly, and just be a bit quicker. And like, my case in point would be have a giant fight like a Praeton, and the fight doesn't last that long because the Praeton is super squishy. But the problem, like, even if you made the Praeton invincible, like literally immune to damage, watch how long it takes that thing to kill the giant. And that's kind of my point, is that these big single entity fights take a long time unless you have low HP like the Praeton. But it's like, I mean, 2 things just slamming into each other takes forever for one of them to die. And I kind of wish it was a little faster. Not one-shot kills, obviously, but I don't know. I want it to feel less like 2 action figures being bounced against each other and more like 2 giant monsters ripping each other to shreds, you know? It shouldn't actually take that long. Anyway, I'm done. Devotee's crossbows increase their ammo from 12 to 14. Boom, unit's fixed. Perfect unit, no problems. Just kidding, a lot of problems. I hate that unit. I think it's bad. Dreadmaw increased cost by 100 and reduced custom limit from 2 to 1. That is something. So then you won't see 2 of them online. You'll just see 1, but like, that's still crazy efficient. That unit needs a leadership nerf. It needs a damage nerf. It needs to not be able to teleport or go underground while in melee combat. And it needs way more of a cost increase than 100 gold. I don't know. That thing's still going to be really annoying. I imagine you'll still see it either banned in Dom tournaments or used all the time. Land battles and conquests. It's just annoying. I don't know if it's that. You know, I don't know if it's that important. Whatever. Marauder Bearman and Bjorg got moved to extended roster for Warriors of Chaos, so you can't use them in tournaments. Famir Noble got a 50 gold cost decrease, increased the duration of Favored by the Matriarch, increased the effect range of Shrouding Mists. All good changes. I still think the Famir Noble suffers from a dual identity. Unless they changed it, one of his abilities he can only cast if he's out of combat, which is weird. So it's like he's kind of supposed to be this on the sidelines noble buffing his troops, but then also he's mostly a melee character. This would make more sense if he was a mage to have abilities that work when you're out of combat, but it's like, hey, your entire kit has to be in combat except for this thing. It's like, well, then that's asynergistic, so I don't know. Buffs are good. I just still don't think he's going to be that solid. Riders of the Mighty Serpent got increased cost, which is good, but then increased their accuracy from 10 to 37. That's weird. So that feels like a side change or maybe even a buff. More accuracy for 50 gold on a unit that's already amazing and just auto take on any roster it's on. Yeah, you're still going to see it. High Elves. I don't love how short this section is, but Aislinn got the uses of Master of the Mist from 1 to 2. That's good. After they nerfed it, it was way too nerfed, and they increased the duration by 50%. Good changes. I don't know if Aislinn will be a good enough lord to warrant that, but it makes it a debate now instead of an automatic don't pick. And then the Beastmen Cockatrice multiplayer course cost reduced to 1050. that unit still sucks for a lot of reasons. That's not its price point. Okay. Animations, casting fire damage was not applying true fire damage. So this looks updated. Ooh, this might be a big change hidden in there. Updated the fire at will target prioritization, producing more consistent shooting. That's weird that that's in the section of items and abilities, but whatever. Yeah. I'm a little underwhelmed. I knew this was going to be a smaller patch, but like, I don't know, man. The High Elves just getting this section is pretty whatever. And yeah, it's more of like a for fun thing, but just Oceanids and the Sea Elemental are ridiculous. The Merworm is trash, so it's like, all right, buff the Merworm, nerf the Oceanids a little bit. No one wants to see High Elves in the gutter, but their current playstyle is really unfun, and I don't know. I'll keep banging that drum that they should get buffs to certain things. Let's get buffs to those, it's not Shadow Warriors. Dang it, why am I forgetting their name? Mistwalkers? Miststalkers? Whatever. The upgraded Shadow Warriors. Alethanar is better, guys. Yeah, they're Shadow Walkers. Sorry, it's Shadow Warriors are the basic one. Yeah, like, make Shadow Walkers a little closer to Waywatchers. Not full Waywatcher, but like, give them more damage, but they have lower model count, that kind of thing. I don't know. Buff those guys, make them good. Nobody wants to see healing SEM blobs from High Elves anymore. It's pretty old. So, yeah, a little bit of an underwhelming patch. All the changes were in the right direction. None of the changes had me scratching my head like, what are you doing? But, yeah, pretty gentle. I hope there's more hot fixes soon, but wouldn't hold my breath on it. All right, that's the end of the patch notes thing. Pew, 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 pew. Get out of here. Pew. For people that care, notice I haven't been posting as many videos. If you're on the Discord, you've seen my announcements, and this isn't a big deal. I'm just giving an update for the people on YouTube that literally don't know where I am. I'm going to be recording some videos today, but it's been a toughie. 2026 is not good. I could... You know, I tend to not worry too much about doxing myself. On live streams, I'm pretty open about where I live, but I live in Minnesota, United States. If you haven't read the news, there's a lot of police activity in Minnesota right now, and I tend to not get too political on my channel, but like, I don't know, man. It's been rough. So I've gone to some protests and stuff. But I work for the state of Minnesota, so like the National Guard getting deployed changes how I can work because the armory is near where I work. So then we need to clear the streets, and then when there's protests, they sometimes clear the buildings just in case something happens. So work's been weird, personal life's been weird, protesting that stuff, and like people are getting shot in the streets. So it's pretty hard. So here's where I'm getting. Whether you agree with me politically or not doesn't actually fucking matter at all. If I go to work and then I get a bunch of emails and I have to be moved to different rooms in different locations, so my job is weird, and then I spend a little bit of time protesting them shooting people in the street of where I live, whether you feel like that was deserved or not, it is a thing that happened. And it's hard to come home after all that and you just feel drained and depressed, and you're like, I'm gonna sit down and cast some video games and be silly. You just don't feel it, right? Like, I don't know. It's difficult. So anyway, there's some health stuff too. That's part 2 of this, but there's also just been days where I've been technically healthy enough to make videos, but I just like kind of stare at the screen for 15 minutes and then shake myself awake and go, all right, not tonight. Just play The Witcher or Crusader Kings or League of Legends with Blood Penguin and just chill tonight. So there's that. And then the health stuff. Not trying to cause too much drama, just for people that care. If you don't care, I tried to give you a warning. You could already click away. It's fine. Yeah, I left treatment in December. That's when I did I'm coming back and I'm making some videos and stuff. But then like I started getting nauseous about twice a day. I'll just get these big nausea spikes where I just feel like I'm going to puke for no reason. And we met with a GI specialist and he said, that's definitely not normal. It's not eating disorder related. And they've been getting worse. So I got a CT scan and an ultrasound in January, and they both showed all my organs look fine, but they're not reacting the way the doctors think they should. So Wednesday, actually, I have a HIDA scan, if you want to look that up. It's an acronym, HIDA. But essentially, it whereas like an ultrasound or a CT, if we're talking about a car, right? Ultrasound and CT are taking pictures of the engine, and they're like, all the parts are where they should be. This engine looks fine. A HIDA scan is it's not a picture, it's a video, and it like watches your organs move over the course of a couple hours. So it's like turning a car on and watching the engine run. So they've determined that like all my organs look fine, but the HIDA scan on Wednesday is going to look and see like, okay, we're going to have you eat some food, wait a set amount of time, and then we're going to turn this video on and we're going to watch like, does your stomach produce stomach acid in the volume it should? Do all the valves open and close how they should? Does your gallbladder and liver release enzymes and bile like they should? It's just going to watch everything and figure out where the disconnect is. Like, oh, this valve isn't opening, so then the food stays where it shouldn't at this point, and then you get nauseous because you're too full or something. You know, whatever. I don't know. They're going to figure that out. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, so it's pretty frustrating. Just been on hold for 2 months as we do scan after blood test after blood test, and everything comes back negative, which is like in theory good. You don't have the thing, but then in practice you're like, well, then what do I fucking have? Like, because it feels pretty shitty to be alive. Like, that's not normal, you know. And I don't know, because it was crazy. So I got this endoscopy where they stick a camera down your throat and look around your stomach, but for that they put you under. And when I came to, like, I have been nauseous and awful for so long that I've just kind of gotten used to it. And when I woke up from being put under, I was like, oh my God, like, so many foods sound good right now. And I was asking Grace, and, you know, you're kind of loopy and a little high after that thing. And I was just like, can we get McDonald's on the way home? And she was like, you want that? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, okay, sure. And then as I like sobered up and the drugs that like numbed my whole system wore off, like the nausea returned and just the pain returned. And I'm like, no food sounds good ever. I want to die. And not, yeah, I'm using the like over dramatic thing, not literal I want to die, but just like the oh my God. So yeah, anyway, health stuff's been a bitch. The world has kind of sucked where I live right now. It's been a toughie, so that's where I've been. I'm gonna record some videos tonight, so I'll get those out, but in case people are like, I thought he said he was coming back and then he disappeared again, it's like, man, I didn't disappear, just shit started happening, both in my personal life and then in my like immediate surroundings. So I'll be around. I'll be here. And obviously if the scans come back with anything, I usually post on my Discord when there's news. I don't post when there is no news. I don't post like I went to this and they found nothing. It's like if I figure it out, there's that. Oh, and then I was gonna stream this last weekend, but I slipped on the stairs and cracked my fucking rib. So that made breathing hard for a little bit. And it made me not want to shoutcast a bunch of games, you know, go like, and then Carl, oh God, ow, got too excited. I hurt my rib. Anyway, Carl Franz is there. Like, it was miserable. So I was just sitting with an ice pack on the couch, playing more Witcher. Which, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm playing the DLCs, Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone. Hearts of Stone was great. Blood and Wine so far is fantastic. I have one problem. The completionist in me wants to mastercraft all of the base game armor sets for the Witchers, like the Wolf School, the Griffin School, the Cat School, all those things. But so far, the stuff I have mastercrafted is still worse than the Viper School stuff I found in the DLC. And the Viper School stuff doesn't have any upgrades you can get. It comes as upgraded as it's ever going to get, and it's better than most of the other armor sets. So I'm like, why am I doing this? And the completionist in me is because like, you have to finish it. And I'm like, but these all suck compared to the Viper School. Anyway, rambling video over. Patch, fine. My personal health and existence, The Witcher, still good. Still good. Goodbye. Rawr.
subscribe. Yes, yes.